Hey there. So my next guest is an underdog hero in society. Most people wouldn't even consider what he does as important, but the truth of the matter is, if he and his fellow coworkers were to disappear, we would all be in a big old world of hurt. So this guy and his job, you guys need to check out. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest with us. I have Neil Pezzula. Hey there, Neil. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Beautiful. It's a wonderful sunny day over in Las Vegas. How about yourself?
Pretty sunny here in central New York.
Wonderful. All right. So, Neil, I like getting the show just right into it. So could you please just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 45 years old. I live in central New York. I have a wife, 2 kids, dog, cat. I'm a gamer. I've been playing since, God, I can't remember, 5 years old, 6 years old, back on the days of Atari.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to get into you as a person, you as a gamer, and all of that here in just a minute. Before we do, I ask every guest a single question to start. I'm going to ask you just like I ask everybody else. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, Neil?
Probably a 5.
And why do you say that?
I'm kind of not too weird, but I'm not too normal either, so.
Okay, right middle of the road. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Neil, this is the Gamerpreneur. So I know you're gonna have to cast your memory back a long ways, but when did you first start playing video games?
I want to say on the Atari 2600.
Okay, and how did that go? Like you bought it yourself, family buy it for you?
No, it was
What's the story?
I believe it was a Christmas present when I was a kid.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And you started off on the Atari and it was love at first pixel.
Yes. Pitfall, adventure, combat. I love those games.
Wonderful. Okay, and I'm assuming over the years you continued to play different systems, different games.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay, and what do you play today?
Xbox, mainly.
Okay. What game?
Right now, I'm doing another walkthrough or another playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, but I'm mostly in Gears of War and Assassin's Creed.
Okay. So Gears, do you do that solo, co-op, or online?
A little bit of each.
You're able to get your wife to play with you? My wife runs in the other direction with her chainsaw. Like, no, they're that way.
More my 9-year-old plays. My daughter plays with me more than the wife.
I'm not so sure when I want to get my daughter involved. She's 3 at the moment. I'm like, chainsaws are probably a little much for you now,
Yeah.
but you got to get them started young, right? Like that way they get the reflexes.
I'd give them a couple more years, maybe around 5 or 6.
Okay, one more gaming related question, and then I want to know more about you as a person, what you do IRL, all right? So you have had the whole gamut of video games. You've basically played them all, or at least had the opportunity to play them all. If you had to choose one as your all-time favorite, which one is it and why?
Game?
Yeah.
Or system?
Game.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Probably because it's the one I have the most time into would be the XCOM series.
Okay. The original XCOM or the newer ones?
All of them. I just love the whole thing. I played the originals all the way through XCOM 2.
Wonderful. Okay, so now let's go over to the preneur part. Can you give me your professional background? What do you do IRL, Neil?
I work at a recycling facility.
Very cool. Okay, and what do you do?
A little bit of everything. We sort cardboard, we sort metals, we sort plastic. I drive a Bobcat, I drive a forklift, I drive a loader.
Okay.
Yeah, every day is something different. I don't know every day when I go to work what I'm going to be doing.
All right. So, one of the point, or like one of the missions of my show is to be able to show people out there, other gamers, that we're not locked into like that stereotypical gamer, whatever it is people say we're supposed to be doing,
Yes.
right? So there's all of these options. Every option is available to anybody, and I want them to understand like what is like when you think recycling center, people are probably thinking like the dump, but that's not it, is it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The, we have a big building. The building next to us is like the dump we take garbage in. The part of the building I'm in, we have all this equipment. We have 2 balers, bunch of lines, and everything gets sorted out, and it's got its own bin that it goes in, and we have to, bail. It goes back, gets baled up, gets put on trucks and shipped out.
Very cool. So,
Yeah.
like what percent of stuff that comes in gets recycled ultimately?
100%.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
So what happens to it all? Like, tell me, this is so exciting.
They get like our paper and cardboard gets baled up and shipped over to. Some of it gets shipped over to China. Some of it goes to Germany. The plastic that we're recycling now is being used to make ventilators for COVID.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And so you basically do everything. You said. So
A little bit, whatever they need.
okay, like is this a fun job? Like, do you enjoy it, or is this?
Some days it can be fun, but some days it can be tedious, depending on how busy we are. Because some days we're really busy, and other days it's just like there's not much to do, so it's boring some days.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
I've been there. I just completed my 17th year. I was working at another job and they closed, and I needed a job, so I went through a temp service, and this was available. And I applied and got the job, and I've been there ever since.
Wonderful. And I mean, obviously you must like it a little bit if you've been there for 17 years.
Yes, it's good. Plus, I have a few really good friends that work there.
Okay. Now, for someone out there, maybe somebody somewhere has decided like, hey, this sounds really cool. I'd love to be able to do this recycling work. How does somebody get into it? Like, are there qualifications? Like, what's required?
Well, I know for my job, because I drive equipment, I need a driver's license. Plus, we also have to be trained for the equipment itself. But as far as somebody like just coming off the street to work, high school education to work on the lines, that's about it.
Okay, wonderful.
It's kind of a simple, fairly easy job. That part of it.
Hey, it's an integral part of society, though. Like,
Yes,
imagine what would happen if your facility and every other recycling facility shut down. What would happen to the economy?
Oh, it would be chaos, because everything would be piling up, and it would be awful.
I can imagine. I have not lived through a trash strike myself, but I can only imagine what it's like.
We had debates as to whether they were going to close my part of the building for COVID, and good thing they didn't, because it would have just been a nightmare.
Okay. So let me see here. Neil, how do you balance this day job with the rest of your life? Because, it's I'm assuming it's kind of like an 8-hour job, but
yeah,
is this something that like weighs on you at all after you get home, or is this something you can leave behind?
I can leave it behind.
Wonderful.
It's not too awful. When I first started working there, I would bring it home, but I've learned, because I've been there long enough, to just, whatever goes on at work, and it just stays there.
Okay, so I actually want to talk about that for just a second, because I'm rock on for being able to get over it. I've known so many people over the years, even if they've been there for 10 years, like it's a job and they know it's a job, but even still at home, they're still talking about it. Their family has to deal with it. What did you do? Like what mental switch got flipped and you're like, I'm done?
Well, I look at it like this. It's not fair to my wife and my kids if I bring my job home and I'm grouchy and grumpy. So I try the best I can to leave it at work, so I don't take it out when I get home on my family.
Wonderful. All right. So,
Plus, I played semi-pro football for 6 years, and that helped out quite a bit.
okay, fantastic. How's the pay?
Decent, depending on what I'm doing.
And what do you mean by that? Like, is it task based or like hourly?
No, if I'm working on one of the lines, I get a lower pay rate than I do if I'm working driving equipment.
Okay, and that just depends on day to day.
Yes, it depends on day to day.
Okay. All right. And I'm assuming you see yourself here long term and you're going to go to the distance, or what's the plan?
Well, I can in 3 more years I'll have 20 years in, and then I can think about retiring
Okay.
because I'm in the New York State retirement system, and we have a pretty decent retirement system. So
Fantastic. All right. What's the
yeah,
plan after you retire? What's the 5-year plan?
I don't know. I'm probably going to be there a little while longer at the job. I'll probably be there past the 20 years.
Like,
So
you said you were 45?
I'm 45. Yeah.
And you're going to be able to retire in 3 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, if I want to.
How do you get into that deal?
I don't know yet.
Okay. So tell me more about like your life. Like what you have a family?
I do. I have a wife and 2 kids.
Okay.
I've been with my wife 22 years. We have a 21-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter.
All right. Congratulations. And
Yeah.
how is it trying to balance all of this? Like you got the job,
It's hard.
you got the family, but also the gaming, right? Like the gaming takes time.
It does. It's hard. Sometimes it's like, I want to do the gaming, but life gets in the way sometimes.
All right.
So it's like, I try to do this, but then it's like, hey, you can't do that. You got to do this.
I understand. I was sitting here working before we got on this interview, and my daughter came up, and I'm like, I can't ignore her, so I have to.
Oh, obviously, yeah. No, that's perfect.
Okay. So Neil, do you have any advice for any other gamers out there who are struggling to find a balance, or either struggling to be able to keep working and gaming?
Make sure you don't let one take over the other. And to always try and find time for both, especially, if you got a family and that, obviously the job has to come first. See, I use my gaming to help me relax. And I use it sometimes as a way to, hey, I'm going to get away from things for a while. So, but you got to find the time. It's hard. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. Let's see. I want to talk for a moment because a lot of the people who come to my show for the first time, they will see some of my other guests and they're in the gaming industry or they're business owners, but I really do try to make it a point of talking to anybody. And there's a reason. And Neil, you're a hero. And I genuinely believe that, because if it was not for people like you doing the kind of work that you're doing, none of society would be able to operate. And I really want to be able to put a spotlight on people like you and really thank you for what you do, because you are so integral. And I hope people are telling you that. And if nobody has, please let me be the one. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, what advice do you have for anybody else? Like you've lived a full life here, and you've tried different things. You've got the family. What advice would you have for gamerpreneurs out there?
Just try to find a balance in not to sweat in your real life. Try not to sweat the little stuff, and in your gaming life, don't take it too serious either.
Absolutely.
It's just, yeah.
Okay. So Neil, I'd like to talk a little more personally about you if I can.
Okay.
So I believe that we learn the most in our lives from our failures. When we screw up or when we get smacked in the face, something happens, we get knocked down, we have to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, look around, figure out what happened, and then be able to move forward. So I'd like to ask you, what do you consider your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn from it?
Probably not taken my schooling serious when I was in high school for a couple of years, and it kind of cost me from going to college. I went to college, but I mean a really good college. So, and what it taught me is, hey, sometimes you need to take things a little serious if you want to get farther ahead than where you are now.
Certainly. All right.
Yeah.
Neil, what is something that you're working to improve on in yourself today?
Not let the little things bother me. I mean, I'm doing a better job at it, but I think I could do a little better.
Got any advice for anybody out there? Because that's a common problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Advice would be just find something to, if you got something going on and it's bothering you, just find something to take your time away, gaming, read a book, something,
All right. Wonderful. Now, Neil, it's kind of a fun question, all right? What do you think is something that people misunderstand about you the first time they meet you?
That I'm not, how can I put this? I'm not as rough as I look. I'm more of a gentle giant than how I portray myself sometimes.
All right. Yeah, you I think you started off the interview not smiling, and here you are smiling. So
yeah.
All right, Neil, this has been a fantastic interview. I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing with the rest of the world what you do. If someone wanted to reach out to you, how would they be able to contact you?
I am on Twitter at neilpez. I'm on Facebook. My name. I have an email. My email is NY. N as in Nancy, Y as in yellow, A as in Alfred, F as in Franklin, L as in Lion, 71 at AOL.com. Yes, I have an AOL. I'm that old.
I like to tell people that, most people keep their first email address, right?
It's my first email.
And then you never let it go because that was my email address. I'll never get that. Yes. I still have mine from when I was a teenager, and like people are like, "That's your email?" I'm like, "That's the one I don't give to anybody."
Yeah.
All right. Now, Neil, do you have any final thoughts you want to share, or anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
I don't think so. I think we're pretty good.
Wonderful. All right. Neil Pezzula, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate you coming on with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.